So this woman is about to discover her husband's secret life after she starts getting threatening messages from her husband's mistress, and you won't believe the end of this story. So this woman, her name is Uchenna. She has been married to Obinna for 18 years now, and they have 3 children together. Uchenna's whole life is built around being the perfect wife. She runs multiple businesses. She's active in church. She even counsels newlyweds about marriage. Her husband works at an oil and gas company that keeps him away from home. 2 or 3 weeks offshore, then 1 week back home in Lagos. But these couples are like strangers in their own home. When he comes home, all Obinna does is ignore his wife and take different secret calls around the house claiming it is work. Uchenna has endured this for years now. The late night calls when he thinks she's sleeping, the way he suddenly stops talking when she walks into the room, the complete lack of interest in their family life. But Uchenna has built her whole identity around sacrifice and patience. She doesn't care much about her husband's secret dealings. She's only in the marriage because of her children and the reputation she has built in her church community over the years. She's scared to admit her own marriage is falling apart because she's supposed to be the role model wife. Uchenna isn't stupid. She doesn't need anyone to tell her that her husband is cheating. That's the one thing that justifies the secret calls and the way he ignores her every time. She has convinced herself this is how marriage works for some people, and hers is just one of those marriages. Until this happens. Uchenna is on a work trip in Lagos when she receives a WhatsApp message from an unknown number. She's about to ignore it, but the messages keep coming. And this strange person claims to be Obinna's mistress. What she says next will shock you. She tells Uchenna that she isn't just a mistress, but she's here to take her place. Uchenna doesn't care about these things, but this person knows specific details about her. She knows where Uchenna works. She knows where her children's schools are, even their names. She even has details about where they live. This leaves Uchenna confused. The sender refuses to give her name, and then she reveals the truth. You're being watched. Uchenna tries to call her husband, but this man never picks up his phone. Uchenna is really confused about what to do. She's not just dealing with a cheating husband now, her husband's mistress is threatening her, and she risks losing her life if this is true. Even her children's lives are at risk too, and she doesn't joke with her children. She has spent 18 years making sacrifices and enduring emotional abuse from her husband and his family just because of them. But beyond just her safety, everything else is at stake too. Her reputation as this perfect wife and marriage counselor, the family stability she's worked so hard to maintain, all the years of holding things together are suddenly hanging by a thread. The weekend comes and Obinna is back home. Uchenna confronts him about the message, and all this man does is defend himself. He doesn't even show any concern for his wife's safety or address the situation. He denies everything about having an affair, and he blames Uchenna for never trusting him. He tells her the message is probably from his scammer, and he turns it around saying she's always disturbing his peace when he only comes home to rest, and that's why he never looks forward to coming home. This woman can't believe what her husband is telling her. She receives a death threat from a mistress, his mistress, and it's making her the problem. At this point, something happens a few days later. Uchenna is folding clothes and putting them away in their wardrobe when she spots this white envelope. She thinks it's a work document, so she opens it to check. She can't believe what she finds there. She finds a pile of receipts indicating multiple transfers, and the same name keeps appearing. The name talks. Transfer after transfer, hundreds of thousands of naira each time from her husband, the same man who never gives her money for anything. She practically does everything around the house with her own money. Excuses upon excuses. It's the only thing he gives her. Either he hasn't been paid or his bank apps are not working. Uchenna reaches out to Obinna's aunt, the only family member she actually gets along with, and tells her everything that's been happening, from her husband ignoring her to the suspected cheating and even the threatening messages. The only thing this woman does is to take Obinna's side, telling her he's a man and that's all men do. A week after finding those receipts, things get even worse. She receives a message from another strange number. This time around, there are images with a message that says, "Ask your husband about this." Uchenna opens the images and she can't can't believe what she sees. They are nude pictures of her husband with another woman. The same woman whose name was all over those receipts. Talks. But here's what makes things even worse. Uchenna recognizes the curtains in the background of one picture. It's from a short-let apartment Obinna had claimed was for company meetings. And the timestamp on those pictures are from 3 years ago. The exact same time Uchenna was pregnant with their third child. While she was carrying his child, growing their family, sacrificing her body and energy, this man was out here taking nude photos with his mistress in some apartment he had rented for their affairs. The signs start increasing after this. A friend mentioned seeing Obinna at a lounge in Festac. When he had told Uchenna he was working late in Ikeja, another person spots him somewhere he shouldn't be. The signs are too obvious and Uchenna can't ignore them anymore. This is when Uchenna reaches her breaking point. She's driving home from work when she sees a car that looks exactly like her husband's car. It's the same model, and when she gets closer, she recognizes the plate number. But Obinna isn't supposed to be in town that day. He's supposed to be offshore working. Before she can even think it through, Uchenna pulls her car right in front of theirs, completely blocking them in. She ignores the horns from angry drivers and steps out of her car. And there he is, her husband of 18 years, sitting in the driver's seat with another woman right beside him. Uchenna brings out her phone and starts snapping photos through the windshield. She needs it for evidence later when he tries to deny it. The look on Obinna says it all. He knows he's been caught red-handed and there's no talking his way out of this one. That evening, when he finally comes home, he doesn't even try to deny the affair anymore. He can't deny it, but he gives the most flimsy excuse. He tells her the woman seduced him and Uchenna never pays attention to him anyway. He makes the whole thing about how he's not getting what he needs at home instead of taking responsibility for what he did. This is when Uchenna realizes her marriage has gone beyond saving. There's nothing she can do to fix this. Her husband is unwilling to change, unwilling to take responsibility, unwilling to fight for their family. Things get worse after the confrontation. He reduces how often he comes home and stops picking up her calls entirely. He only checks in occasionally to speak to the children. This is when Uchenna decides to stop worrying about her marriage. She decides to stop worrying about a man who clearly doesn't care about her or her well-being. She starts putting herself first for the first time in 18 years. She begins to go out as she pleases instead of just shuttling between work and home. When Obinna does show up, she pays him no attention. She stops speaking fights with him, stops trying to get him to explain himself. She openly tells him she no longer loves him and is only staying because of the kids. And as she starts leaving this way, Uchenna realizes how much sacrifice she has made. She's been bending over backwards to hold on to a man who never cared enough to do the same for her. Uchenna tells Obinna she wants a divorce, and of course the man laughs it off. He thinks she's joking because she has always tolerated his behavior all these years. But this time it's different. Uchenna has already emotionally checked out. His reaction becomes her final confirmation that he lives only for himself without any apology or consideration for her or the children. And now she has decided she will too. Uchenna is at a supermarket later that week when she meets this man named Osas. They talked for a while, exchanged contacts. Through their conversation, she learns he's a widower with 2 children studying abroad. Osas listens without judgment when she tells him about her marriage and even offers to support her with the children. They start hanging out more. Eventually they begin dating. And for the first time in years, maybe decades even, Uchenna feels actually seen and valued. This man is interested in her businesses, cares about her children, and treats her with genuine respect and affection. Uchenna realizes she's finally learned something from Obinna. Not his betrayal or his selfishness, but his ability to put himself first. Uchenna is now choosing herself and ending her abusive marriage.